The movie starts in Port Royal, where Lord Cutler Beckett of the East India Trading Company enforces martial law, executing anyone associated with piracy by hanging. A young boy holding a piece of eight begins singing a pirate anthem, and the rest of the condemned prisoners join in, signaling a call for the Brethren Court to assemble. Elizabeth Swann and Captain Barbossa travel to Singapore, to meet with pirate Lord Swann. The others sneak there as well through the water. Before entering, all their weapons were confiscated. They meet Swann, and discuss the need of his mystical navigational charts, to locate the locker of Davy Jones. Swann reveals that Turner attempted to steal the charts, but was captured. When they are about to be killed, Barbossa tosses one of the pieces of 9 coins at him and demands they open the Brethren Court. Swann asks why he should help, and Will tells him they need to rescue Jack Sparrow, since he holds one of the 9 pieces of it. During negotiations, Swann notices one of the men's tattoo washing off, so he pulls knife to fight them. Just then, East India Trading Company soldiers attack the bathhouse. A massive battle ensues. Swann catches Will and Will strikes a secret deal with him. Swann will provide a ship, the map and crew. William Turner will use them to capture the Black Pearl so he can save his father, and in exchange, Swann will have an audience with Beckett, with Sparrow and Barbossa as his prisoners. Barbossa, Elizabeth and the pirates escape Singapore aboard a ship provided by Swann, and are accompanied by Feng's men. The Flying Dutchman rises out of the water, and begins destroying pirate ships by Beckett's orders. Meanwhile, guided by Feng's charts, the crew sails through frozen, icy waters to the literal edge of the earth. While on their journey, Will and Elizabeth avoid conversing with each other. Will notices the medallion Tidalma is wearing is the same as the one Davy Jones has. Barbossa sails the ship over a massive waterfall, plunging directly into Davy Jones Locker. In the locker, Jack Sparrow is trapped alone aboard the Black Pearl, suffering from hallucinations where clones of himself make up his crew. He finds a rock and throws it, only for the rock to come back to him. He throws it again, and it turns into a crab. It gathers many like itself and carries the Black Pearl across the desert, with Jack chasing after it. The crew arrive in Davy Jones' locker, and Jack reunites with them. Jack seems to think they are illusions till Elizabeth speaks. Jack reveals that Elizabeth killed him, shocking Will. Though reluctant to trust them, Jack agrees to sail back with them. While on the ship, Will confront Elizabeth on her killing Jack, saying he misunderstood the keys to mean she loved Jack, not him. He asks her if he can trust her, and she says he can't. While sailing through the eerie waters of the locker, they see the souls of the dead floating in boats. Tidalma reveals that it was the task given to Davy Jones, to guide the dead spirits, and every 10 years, he could walk on land to see his lover. Boats of ghosts start sailing the waters, and on one of those boats, Elizabeth's father, Governor Weatherby Swann, who was murdered by Beckett. He reveals that whoever stabs the heart of Davy Jones must take his place as captain of the Flying Dutchman. The crew becomes trapped in the locker with no wind and water. Jack, while having a talk with himself about killing Davy Jones and becoming immortal, deciphers a riddle on Feng's chart, up is down. Realizing they need to capsize the ship to escape, Jack and the crew run back and forth across the deck, rocking the Black Pearl until it flips completely upside down in the water. At the exact moment of sunset, a green flash occurs, successfully returning the ship and crew to the land of the living. They immediately point guns at each other and Barbossa tells Jack he is going to the Brethren Court, to which Jack refuses. Will shows them an island where they can stop for fresh water and supplies, so they head there. On the island, they find the carcass of the Kraken, ordered to be killed by Davy Jones on Beckett's command. Barbossa uses the chance to convince Jack to join the Brethren Court. Swann and his fleet ambush them, capturing the Black Pearl. On the ship, Will tells Swann to release Elizabeth, since she wasn't included in their deal. Swann sends Jack Sparrow to Lord Beckett, who wants to cut a deal with him. He changes his mind and tries to kill Jack Sparrow, but Jack tells him he will bring the pirates, in the court, out of hiding. It is revealed that Swann betrayed Will to Beckett, but Beckett immediately breaks his promise to Swann. Frustrated, Swann switches sides again and cuts a deal with Barbossa to join the Brethren Court, which demands Elizabeth as his captive. Will doesn't approve of this, but Elizabeth goes willingly to protect the crew. The pirates attack the East India Trading Company ship and Jack runs away and cannons himself onto the Black Pearl. On the Empress, Swann mistakenly believes Elizabeth is the sea goddess Calypso. Elizabeth plays along and asks what he wants from her. When he tells her he wants her, she refuses, so he attacks her. The Flying Dutchman attacks Swann's ship. Swann is mortally wounded by flying debris. Before he dies, he passes his piece of eight and the captaincy of the Empress to Elizabeth, naming her a pirate lord. Elizabeth and her crew are imprisoned on the Flying Dutchman. There, she meets James Norrington again, who is now a captain. He tells her that her father will be happy to see her, and she tells him he passed away, prompting him to choose a side. On the Dutchman, Elizabeth meets William Thomas' father, who is slowly losing his mind. In the morning, dead bodies on barrels are left by Wiltana for Beckett to follow. Jack catches him and strikes a deal, where Jack will kill Davy Jones, become immortal, and William's father becomes free. Jack gives him his compass, and lets him fall overboard. Norrington frees Elizabeth and her crew. As they escape back to the Empress, Bootstrap Wiltana finds them escaping, alerts the crew and stabs Norrington, killing him. The Black Pearl makes its way to Shipwreck Cove. On the ship, Tia Dalma and Barbossa argue, with Barbossa revealing that she is Calypso. Beckett summons Davy Jones, who meets William there, and is informed of Jack being alive. Beckett tells Davy Jones the plan to free Calypso, and William reveals that Davy Jones loved her, and bound himself for her. Will plans to use Jack's compass to find Shipwreck Cove and send them there. The 9 pirate lords assemble at Shipwreck Cove and with their pieces of 8. When it reaches Jack's turn, he insists on waiting for Swann. Elizabeth arrives and tells them of Swann's death. She argues that they should stand and fight Beckett rather than hide. Barbossa proposes releasing Calypso from her human form to help them fight Beckett, but the other lords refuse and a huge fight breaks out. When Barbossa stops the others from fighting, Jack Sparrow agrees with Elizabeth that the pirates should fight Beckett. Per pirate code, the Pirate King is the only one who can make such a decision, so a vote takes place, led by Jack Sparrow's father. To break a voting deadlock, as pirate lords traditionally only vote for themselves, Jack votes for Elizabeth. This makes Elizabeth Swann the elected Pirate King. As king, Elizabeth orders the pirates to prepare for war. The pirates gather for war, but seeing the number of ships they are up against, they request a parley. The parley takes place on a sandbar between Beckett, Davy Jones, and William on one side, and Elizabeth, Barbossa, and Jack on the other. Elizabeth trades Jack to Beckett in exchange for William's return. Jack is thrown into the brig of the Flying Dutchman, where he communicates with multiples of himself. Back on the Black Pearl, Barbossa performs the ritual to release Calypso from the body of Tia Dalma. Before she is fully released, Will informs Calypso that it was Davy Jones who betrayed her to the First Brethren court, teaching them how to bind her. Enraged by Jones' betrayal, Calypso transforms into a giant mass of crabs, dissolves into the ocean, and creates a massive storm. The pirates raise their flags and the Black Pearl leads the charge. The Pearl and the Dutchman meet in a maelstrom, and the Dutchman starts firing at it. Jack Sparrow escapes from his prison. The Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman sail into the edges of the giant whirlpool, engaging in a chaotic, close-quarters cannon battle. Jack escapes the Dutchman's brig, locates the dead man's chest containing Jones' heart, and takes it to the top deck. Amidst the chaotic sword fighting on the deck of the Black Pearl, Will proposes to Elizabeth. Barbossa hastily marries them right there on the deck while fending off enemies. The battle moves to the rigging and mast of both ships. Jack and Davy Jones duel directly over the chest. Davy Jones overpowers William, and stabs him through the chest. Bootstrap Bill snaps back to his senses upon seeing the knife he gave William, and attacks Davy Jones. As Jones prepares to kill Bootstrap, Jack, who is holding Jones' disembodied heart and Will's broken sword, helps the dying Will stab the heart. Davy Jones plunges to his death into the maelstrom, calling out for Calypso. Jack forces a grieving Elizabeth to escape with him on a makeshift parachute, as the Flying Dutchman is sucked down into the whirlpool. Bootstrap Bill cuts out Will's heart and places it inside the dead man's chest, making Will the new, immortal captain of the Flying Dutchman. Lord Beckett moves his massive flagship, the Endeavour, forward to destroy the Black Pearl. Suddenly, the Flying Dutchman resurfaces from the ocean, completely restored, and with a now humanized crew led by Captain Wiltana. The Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman flank the Endeavour on both sides, unleashing a devastating double broadside barrage. Stunned and paralyzed by shock, Beckett fails to give any orders. The Endeavour explodes, killing Beckett, and the East India Trading Company fleet retreats in terror. The pirates win the war. Will and Elizabeth reunite on a beach for their one day ashore, before Will must serve 10 years at sea on the Dutchman. Will gives Elizabeth the dead man's chest, with his heart in it for safekeeping. In Port Royal, Barbossa steals the Black Pearl yet again, leaving Jack and Gibbs stranded in Tortuga. However, Jack anticipated this, and cut out the center of Sofeng's navigational chart. Jack uses the map, which points to the Fountain of Youth, and sets sail alone in a small dinghy boat. 10 years later, Elizabeth and her young son stand on a cliffside watching the sunset. A green flash illuminates the sky, and the Flying Dutchman appears in the distance, with Will returning home, and that is how the movie ends.